this is Shannon. I am excited to share with you today how I make these giant felt maps that I use in our homeschool. My kids love them. It helps them learn the geography so well. It's so fun. You can see Africa behind me. Some of the countries are missing because my kids are practicing what they are and taking them on and off, but I have all the countries of Africa on there, as you can see. We love it because the countries snap on and off. So here's one. It has some snaps on the back. It snaps on the main African continent and snaps off. Here's another one. So they're just really fun and a great way to learn about the different countries. I am working on Europe currently for cycle 2. And so as I work on it, I just wanted to share with you how I go about making them. They're really simple. I do the hard work. I make the patterns for you so you can use my patterns and make your own map at home. So the patterns look like this. This is an example of one for Belarus. I write the color at the top corner and then the country. And then what you can do is print these patterns out on quilter's freezer paper. So I did that here. I cut it out a little bit, but it's just a different texture paper. One side is shiny, one side is not, and so the shiny side will actually fuse onto the felt, which makes it really easy to cut. You definitely don't have to do this. You could just use the pattern and pin it onto the felt, but I like to just print right onto the freezer paper from my printer, and then I iron it on the felt. So what I do is, this is called hard Korean felt. I'll link below in the description where I get this. I get this on Etsy, and it's just more firm felt, but not super firm. And so it just works really well for these maps. So I actually put the freezer paper onto the color felt I want. I get this white fusible felt. I'll link below exactly what it's called too. And one side, you probably can't see, but one side feels a little bit different than the other side because it actually fuses on. I use this as well as the hard Korean felt just so it's a little stiffer. So you can see one of my countries that's finished here. It has the white felt on the back and the purple or the colored felt on the front. So I don't cut these out exactly yet. You can see I've just roughly cut them so they fit the country here. But I put the fusible side of the white felt, which is pretty obvious, but it just feels a little sticky, on the back of my pink felt. I just make sure the whole country will be included. The next step is I make a little mark on my white side with this snap. These are little purse snaps. There's 2 parts. This is how the countries are going to snap on and off. You can see it will have a snap on the white part, and that is how it snaps onto the big continent. So I want to make sure I put the snap through the white part before I fuse all 3 of them together. So what I do is I actually take the thicker side of the snap. Doesn't matter, but you just want to be consistent. I decide kind of where in the country I'm going to want the snap, and then I just flip it to the back, and I just kind of push it in so it makes a mark into the white part of the felt. So I can see it. You know, I can't see it well, but I can see it enough. And then once I have my little marking on the back of the felt, I use an X-Acto knife. Obviously, keep this away from kids. I poke through the holes that I just marked. So I know you can't see the holes, but I'm going to make a little mark through the holes, and I'm obviously really careful with this, but I marked through both holes. Then I can put the snap through the holes. So you see it's right there, and then it went through the other side of the felt. And I go ahead and bend the prongs down like this. Okay, so it's like that. Then I put the pink felt back on, and I put my pattern back on. And now I'm ready to iron all of these together. So again, my snap's already there. When I iron them all together and cut the pattern out, then I won't be able to see the snap on the color side, which is what I want. So like our country, we don't see the snap just on the back. So that's the order I do it in. You can see Switzerland is already fused together. Again, I have the color felt, the white felt, the snap on the back, and the pattern. The snap, I did the opposite one that I just described. It doesn't matter which side of the snap you do. You just want to make sure you do the opposite side where it's going to snap on. Then after it's all fused together, it's super easy to cut out. So you just cut along the pattern line and it cuts all of it. And then it comes out just really nice and clean. You don't have to pin it. So that's one of the reasons I like using this freezer paper, because it just sticks onto the felt and then it's really easy to peel off. It doesn't leave any residue on the felt or anything. And again, you just iron it on to fuse it on. So basically you print all the patterns that I'm already making, so you can just use my patterns. That's the bulk of the work anyway. Then you print them on freezer paper if you want to do it that way, and put them on your felt. Make sure you put this on before you fuse all the felt and the pattern together, and then you cut them out. After you get all the countries cut out, then you want to have a big piece of felt to make your continent with. So I bought this from Legacy Felt on Etsy again, and I bought 2 yards wide. So it's 72 inches by 44 inches, and I'll link below the exact one I got. It ended up being the perfect size. So I line up all my countries on the big piece of felt. And then what I do is I just go one by one and kind of mark again where the other side of the snap should be so that the country is in the right place. I poke holes with my X-Acto knife again, just like I showed you, and then I put the country in that spot. I am going to show you with Switzerland here how I put it on the big map. So you can see my big map is laying on the floor. It is not done yet. I've done some of the countries, but not all of them. And you can see the gray background. What I also do is I have these fused together, which works pretty well, but I like to sew them together as well around the edges just to make it super secure, because they can come apart. But I haven't sewed this one yet, but I'm just going to show you how it fits in there and how I would connect my snap here. So what I do first is I take the back of the snap and snap it on to the back there. And then I'm going to just put it in where it goes and press down again so it makes a mark on my gray felt there, so you can kind of see the marks that it made. So then I take my X-Acto knife and I punch a hole where those marks are. Then I put the prongs inside the gray felt so it's going through. And then what I do is I flip my gray felt over so I can see the prongs on the other side, and then I just push them in. So you can see they look like that. Then it is connected like that. And again, I'm going to sew around the edges just to make it a little bit more secure. But you can see I can snap it off, snap it back on. Here's another one. Snap it off, snap it on. You can see the gray isn't perfectly cut yet. I don't cut it perfectly, but I will trim some of the parts that are kind of overlapping the edges of the country. And then I will hang it on my wall. All right, as you can see, I finally put my Europe map behind me here. We took down Africa. We went over all the African countries again this morning and took it down, so that was fun. So you can see all the countries in felt. You can snap them on and off. I will post below where you can find the patterns if you want to make one. I have all 51 countries of Europe plus England as a separate piece. You can make one out of felt, and I have instructions for how to do that, but you can also just make it out of paper too. I've done both. I am also really excited to share this Europe countries notebook that I just finished. This has all the countries of Europe, including some of the countries that are both in Europe and Asia, like Kazakhstan, Turkey, countries like that. I also include England as a separate country, part of the United Kingdom. So I'm really excited to share this with you. Basically, there is a page for each country. So for example, this is France. You can see it has where France is in Europe, and then it has a bigger France for the kids to color where the capital is, an animal that is popular in each country for the kids to color, the flag and a picture from each country, and then some fun facts about the country. So there's a page like this for each of the countries. Again, I have 51 countries on here plus England as a separate page as well. So 52 total. And then at the end, there are all the flags, so the kids can use this as a reference as they color the flags for each country. Also in the front, there are maps they can reference. So I have labeled maps, both in color and black and white. There are also blank maps in color and black and white. So check this out. I'm planning to start using this with my kids mid to late summer as we start talking about Cycle 2 stuff. I wanted to make sure to get it out soon enough, so if you want to start earlier or just want to check it out, you can. So let me know if you have any questions about it. Again, I'm really excited. If you did my Africa workbook last cycle, it's very similar to that. So I hope you enjoy it with your kids. Thanks so much for watching. If you are enjoying my videos, please subscribe to my channel. I am planning to post at least one video per week throughout the summer as well, and I will be posting Cycle 2 tutor videos very soon. So stay tuned for that. Also check out my Instagram. I like to post what we're doing in our homeschool on that, just kind of our daily life, healthy recipes that we're making. And check out my blog where you can find lots of great homeschool resources. Thanks again for watching and have a great day.